Alright, gonna try the commentating out again. See if I can give some insight into the decisions I'm faced with on this Ascension 20 run. Trying to maybe help out some new or struggling players. How they might be able to tackle this sort of max difficulty of the game and win at a somewhat okay rate. Alright, so you heard in my other videos I say this, but I'll probably just reiterate it every time. I don't really recommend ever trading in silent starting relic unless you're just really bored and want to add some big variance. But I would say that on average it's just always not really as good as just keeping your awesome starting relic and just kind of getting a net positive from most of these. Although these two, I don't really also recommend transforming for the silent. There's just too many bad cards that 99% of the time are useless, especially in Act 1. Like, I don't want to take away some strikes and add like a prepared or a tactics or something like that, So we'll go to the potions. Potions, it's like a non-sexy option, but it's actually, oh, look at this is funny. So we can just drink this and take the two of them. Usually you don't get that lucky. But, so one, it's pretty solid to be able to take on an early elite. These two aren't really, but I'm not gonna. Gambler's Brew, it's more powerful mid to late game. It's not particularly gonna do what like a fire potion or a flex potion or a poison potion, a power potion would do for you in these Act 1 elites. But I'm not gonna complain because I got a free 5 extra max HP, and who knows, I can be a little liberal with these because I can probably bank on getting another potion before these elites, so if I need to, and if this might save me against like 12 damage against Jawworm or something like that. So let's go over what we want to do here for the path. Oh, and one quick thing about potions, I didn't know this until recently, but on the back end in the code, it actually counts as a card choice iteration, which makes it so if you weren't aware, you start out with like a 0% chance to get a rare card in your card choices, and then every card choice you make from card rewards after that increases that by a certain percentage until you find one, and then it resets. So on the back end, the way they do the potion sort of meow reward, it actually triggers one of those card rewards, so I actually have a chance now on my first fight to get a rare card and just, even that much more. So it's not just potions. There is that slight additional benefit that's, I think, it's somewhat noteworthy, I'd say. So I'm just looking, let's look for the path here. So I generally like an early store before my first elite, but the only two are on the right hand here. I also kind of like having a fire at least before or right after my first elite. I mean, I guess there's one if I went this way, but then there's only one other elite possibility. There's also only really one, I guess there's 2 events, but then it's just all normal hallway fights. The first 3 normal hallway fights are always pretty okay in Act 1, but the other ones can be pretty brutal if you don't have the right cards to deal with them, like the slime and gremlin AoE fights. If you don't have AoE, or if you don't draw it, it's a lot of damage coming in for just a normal hallway fight. So let's look at the left side here. We wouldn't get a shop, and we also wouldn't get we have options. If we go left, we don't necessarily have to take this Leon, or if we have a really bad deck. I mean, 2 campfires is pretty legit. 3, and then 2. I mean, everything about the left side is just looking better. So we just want to figure out, do we want to go? I think anyway, we'll probably just take this. We can end up where this one would go anyway, and I do want to get at least one event in. Yeah, so we'll start here, I think. Oh, weird. Okay. So Jawworm, generally the worst starting fight, but it's kind of up to RNG whether you're going to take a lot of damage or not. Luckily we have these gambling potions, so Like even right here, I could throw these away. Yeah, I think I'll save them for defense. So 17. It's only 2 damage. Probably hold on to my potions. And then 6 blocks, so not even really any point in doing those strikes. This will just run once. Still save this for the defense, or just... I mean, even though I'm banking on getting another potion before the elite, you don't necessarily want to just blow potions if you don't have to. It's better to hold one and not use it and have it for when you really need it than to sort of just liberally use them. Really, you want 2 potions for elites is what it kind of comes down to. I could have rolled there for like a survivor or a neutralize, but as you can see, well, you don't want to be outcome dependent, but you know, I wouldn't have got it. Here I'm debating doing my gambling. What do I do here? I could just throw everything away. That's pretty good, I think. Block all the damage, get a little bit of damage in. It's not like fighting the elites would give me necessarily much more benefit than that. Damn, this sucks. So, 1 damage short. I throw 2 away. It's over a 50% chance. I'm just gonna do it. They're not really that good against, damn. Well, it's a card game. Sometimes luck isn't on your side. Just gotta take a hit, I guess. I mean, it's only 3 damage, but sucks to use both the potions. But here we go. Now we got a real potion. Like, this is an actual potion that will help you against the elites. Whereas gambling, it's not really gonna. So our first rewards. We have 2 pretty good rewards here, and they're prepared. I just say don't ever take it Act 1. If you think of this card, think of it versus just either not taking the card or taking another card. In Act 1, if I drew this card, I play it. Sure, it doesn't cost any energy, but if I'm fighting against, well, let's just say the normal scenario. So I play it, I draw a card, then I have to discard a card. So I basically just get the card I would have gotten anyway if I never took Prepared, or if I took a different card. And then I suppose I have the luxury of discarding the card that I want, right? But that's effectively, you know, just reducing my hand size by 1. Yeah, it's not a very good card. And then also when you factor in that 1 out of the 3 elites here is Knob, doing that would have given him, you know, 5 extra damage against you if you're vulnerable. And against the sentries, you might just draw another status card and end up having to discard a status card. So it's like overall pretty useless Act 1. So between these 2, let's take a look at who we're fighting. Slime Boss. I'm probably taking Predator here no matter what, but I especially will take Predator against Slime Boss. Poison isn't particularly great against Slime Boss, especially like deadly poison, because it's not a whole lot of poison. Yeah, Predator's just going to help us a lot more in that fight. Our hand is going to be filled with status cards, so being able to play a 2 energy card is just nice, and it draws us more cards, just does good damage. So Predators generally you're not passing up a Predator in Act 1, so you get a really, you know, I'd take like Dash and Backstab over it probably. That's a pretty good event. So these 2 are probably our best upgrades. Since I'm focusing on elites at the moment, I think Predator makes more sense. It's a pretty big upgrade to get the 5 extra damage. One thing I will say about Predator, it is a kind of awkward card to play a lot of the time, and when you're doing 20 damage, it's a lot less awkward. It becomes like the unanimous best damage play a lot of the time when it went at 20 damage. So And it just, I don't know, it's hard to, you have to see it in practice, but like it just works out that it's often the extra damage needed to be able to kill an enemy versus not kill an enemy, which saves you a lot of damage in Act 1. It's pretty good upgrade in Act 1, so pretty good start. Applied almost half of his health and damage and drew a bunch of cards. So this fight would be no problem, you know. Much better than our Jawworm fight. So Bane, don't ever take that if you don't have poison. Even if you have poison, I would say you only take it if you really need damage. It can be good. I tend to not want to put this card in my deck. It kind of fits into the definition of win more a lot of the time, but yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to skip here. Let's double check how many fights we have before the Elite. So we have 2 more chances at cards. We've only added 1 card, but these just aren't high quality enough cards. Escape Plan is generally a pretty good card, just not when you're facing your first Elite, given that it could be Knob. Mid to late game, I'm rarely skipping Escape Plan, but in Act 1, it's usually a skip for me. Especially if I don't have footwork. Or, you know, a few skills to, like, really make it kind of shine. But yeah, Sucker Punch is really the only thing I would consider at this point. The problem with Sucker Punch is the main thing we need is damage, right? Silent has the least damage in their starting cards, and 1 more damage than a strike. I mean, the utility is okay. The thing is, Silent just doesn't really hurt for weakness necessarily. This is pretty good though against Log Living. It is like a basically playing 7 damage and getting a defense with a block, but 7 damage generally just isn't enough. I would have took that there if I skipped my Act 1 reward probably, but otherwise just not really good enough. I would say that if my my floor 1 reward, you know, if it had been so bad that I had to skip it, I'd probably take Sucker Punch there because I'd be really hurting for damage. But when I have an upgraded Predator, I'm really not so starved for damage that I'm going to reach for something like a Sucker Punch. So we've already talked about prepared. This is funny because they're all kind of in this weird. You see this discard theme come up a lot with Silent, and really, I'm telling you, it just isn't really something you want to lean into unless you're forced hardcore into it, because it's really just not. It doesn't scale really, and it just doesn't do enough on offense. It's okay at defense, but really on offense, just does nothing. Sneaky Strike is such a bad card. You know, if I had a Tools of Trade even, I still don't even consider Sneaky Strike. Tools of the Trade is like the best enabler of discard things, I shall say. Like, you know, Hovering Kite just is never worth taking unless you have a Tools of the Trade. The only card I'm really debating here is Tools of the Trade. It could be pretty okay against Slime Bus to get that extra card each turn. Just don't know if I want it before my Elite. It's really not that great a card. But one nice thing is that if I offered trash boss rewards and one of them's Hovering Kite, it just turned a trash choice into an okay choice. But it's not enough to really make me want to reach on the card, I think. It's also, you know, could be rough. I mean, I have card draw already, really. I think I skip it. It's just not. It's a pretty underwhelming card. So we'll see what happens here. We're either going left or right. I mean, the only thing here is, like, we really have great upgrade targets. Neutralize is a good upgrade, but then I'm just upgrading like pretty minimal upgrades here. So hopefully I get a good reward and I can feel good about taking on the elite. Probably just not really worth breaking our block at this point. We got a lot of damage coming in, might as well negate what we can. Take 6 here. Let's kill the guy that's about to gain strength, I say. Because we're going to be weak next turn. And we'll just block this 7 damage. Now we're reduced it back to a easier hallway fight, so it should hopefully not be too bad from here on out. So this takes him down to 5. We just defend. Right, so now the blocks are broken, and I can just finish him off at my leisure. So no sense taking 1 damage if I don't have to. Might be a little boring and slow, but it gets the job done sometimes. Can't really have the luxury not to be as efficient and greedy as it can. God, these all pretty much suck. It's funny because like if I did take Tools of the Trade, I might consider Tactician. I mean, it's pretty good in Tools of the Trade. It's just a free energy on whatever turn you draw it. But these just dodge and roll expertise. Just I would say never take the card on any act in any situation. It's really just not giving you. There's plenty of good ways to draw cards with Silent. This is not one of them. And dodge and roll, I'm never really taking it in Act 1, especially before the elites. And if I don't have footwork, I'm also just in general never doing this card. It is an okay card when you have footwork, though. We're skipping here. So we didn't really get anything beyond the upgraded Predator, but an upgraded Predator is pretty good, and we have an attack potion, and we just can't really make good use of these campfires, so we're going to take on the elite. This is probably the least I wanted to see, so we'll just wait until we get our Predator. Hopefully we draw the neutralized. Yeah. I wanted to draw this and this the next turn, but we could do one of 2 things. We could either break his block here, or we could try to wait a turn and see if we cycle back into Predator. It'd be a 3 out of 14 chance, so not great. I say just go in. We'll hold this, and maybe it ends up being like a dash or like a sucker punch when we really need it. I mean, we might as well actually just do it now, and hope it's a good one that we'll cycle back into our deck. Unload is probably our best bet here. It's pretty good. I mean, Choke would give me the most damage on this turn, but because it'd be at 0 cost. I don't know, maybe I do Choke. When I cycle back into it, it won't be very good, though. It'll be okay. Whereas Unload will be really good when I cycle back into it. I think we do Unload here. It is definitely less damage on this turn. Ah, fuck it, let's go Choke. We'll find out if that's the right call. It's kind of hard math to do. I don't really have the luxury to. I don't have any poison. I really didn't want to draw Choke here. Okay, I don't know if you heard that. That was some explosions or something going on outside. Yeah, this is not looking good for us. So this is going to be a rough fight. I think we'll defend here. We're probably going to have to rely on a Predator or a Choke to finish this off. Get this in. I think choke. Man, this is a really bad draw. Fuck me. That's as bad as it could have possibly been. Well, that's card games. Yes, okay. At least we got him. Ninja Scroll. I did not like this artifact. Sometimes I straight up skip it, even on like a something like this where there's no blue shard. I'll take it because I'm hurting for damage and I don't have a bag of prep already. The thing I don't like about it is if you do get a bag of prep, which is like not really out of the question. I mean, bag of prep is one of those. It's a common relic, so like when I see it in a store, I can usually afford it, and I do usually buy it just because it's so good. But if you have Ninja Scroll, it yeah, I don't know. It basically completely erases your bag of prep because those scrolls come in before you draw your extra cards. We'll take it though. We need damage, and yeah, we're not really getting offered much good here. Quick Slash we'll take because it's a middle of the road card, I would say. I put it in like my C+, B- tier for Act 1, just if I had a general tier list. You know, given that we really need some attacks, we'll go ahead and take it. Another thing, you know, well, I'm probably going to do it on the left side here. I'm just debating if I want to rest. Let's rest first, I guess. I mean, we may get more max HP. Generally want to rest if you have more max HP, but we could also get that minus 20 HP upgrade to random cards. Interesting thing to note about Quick Slash is it randomly kind of has a better upgrade than all other just sort of generic 1 energy basic attacks. It gets 4 instead of 3 damage. Just randomly, so it's like, it's an okay upgrade, but I guess we'll just rest first. We can upgrade at the other campfire depending on what this event is. Okay, it's a shop. Ooh, da-da-da. That's an expensive da-da-da, but it's also pretty high value attack for Act 1. Pretty damn good against Slime Boy here. Pretty good against Knob and Sentries, which is coming up. Strange Spoon, I would never buy this artifact, especially on Silent. You don't want, if you do end up with shivs, you don't want those things coming back in your deck. And you know, even using like Slime Boss as an example, those status cards, or even the Sentries, like all those status cards that exhaust, this still triggers on. So it's just, it's literally spending 172 gold to make your life harder. And this one, you know, it's okay. I usually don't, unless I have Coffee Dripper, I'm not really buying this one typically. And these, weakness is a pretty weak potion, pun intended. Skill is okay, but I don't know if I'm spending gold on them. I really only spend gold on like a power potion or one of the, they call them shiny potions, but if you see like liquid memories, duplication, stuff like that, those are just really powerful potions. Skill is like debatably worth buying here, but I can't really buy it, and everything else is pretty low value, I would say. I mean, this is a good, I can't afford it, so it doesn't matter, but Flying Knee is kind of similar to Quick Slash for me. I think I slightly prefer Quick Slash, but I'm not going to spend money on Flying Knee. Blade Dance is pretty horrible. Outside of a very all-in Shiv deck, I would just never get it. And if you compare the two, it's like they do the same damage, only this one gives the knob, you know, extra damage, and then you don't get any utility. So, and Caltrops, I really don't think it's a great power, especially against this boss. I'll take it against like Hexaghost if I think I need it. It is pretty good damage against Hexaghost. So really the only choices here are card remover, but let's go with this. I don't really want to remove a strike at this point. Singing Bowl, early Singing Bowl, can't really argue against that. You know, come Act 2, we'll be skipping cards. So let's go for the, oh man. It's like, do I rest or upgrade here? This is a pretty okay upgrade as well. It's 4 damage in AoE form. Granted, it's a one-time play only card though. I mean, if I take too much damage here, I can always go this route though. That's still 2 hallway fights, like hard hallway fights, but if I draw into die, the hard hallway fights that I'm thinking of probably won't be so bad. So maybe in light of all of that, you know, against Knob, I'm probably playing this. You know, it's rare that you're really able to cycle back in and make much use of the card on a second go against Knob. Either kill him by turn 3 or you die. So, or three or four, I should say. I do not like this group. Let me think here. 17 plus 12 is 29 plus 3, so I can kill him. Let's do that. And then we'll just block the rest. Yeah, die. It's looking pretty good so far. Yeah, we don't need these. So deflect, I didn't talk about it the last shot, but I'm just really never taking it in Act 1, and even in the rest of the game, I really only target it in Runic Pyramid, or if I'm like really hurting on energy. It's just, I mean, it's less block than a defend, so, and really even then I need footwork along with it to make it work. In Acrobatics, Act 1, just, you don't have the energy, or even, you don't have the energy to really justify spending your energy purely on drawing cards, and you also just don't generally have, like I don't have any combo or scaling pieces here that I'm digging for, so we'll just take the max HP. So we really want to see die as soon as possible this fight. And this is interesting. They all have like the maximum amount of health, I think. Unfortunate, but whatever. So, there we go. And let's just go out. You want to kill one of the guys on the sides first, since, you know, these guys are just robots. So that this one attacks, then they both attack, and they just keep alternating. So there's no sense really in. Do I want to do this fight? I don't think so. The fight will be over between Predator and, yeah, I don't probably need it this fight. Probably need it for the slime boss, or even just a normal hallway fight. So let's do that. Maybe we can Predator this guy and kill him next turn. No such luck. Oh man. Anyway. Take 2 damage, whatever. So, do that. That's good. Took a lot of damage this fight, but Sentries is generally the easiest elite for Act 1, I would say. I can bet going. Right now, it can be pretty good with die. That means like even if we run into the gremlins, we're taking them all out in one hit if we can draw it. And we're more inclined now to take certain cards. Definitely none of these though. Heal Hook sure doesn't do enough damage, and this is just not a consistent enough thing to hit come Act 1, and then come Act. It's like you only really take it in some weird infinite deck. In my 600 hours of playing this game, I've never made an infinite deck work off Heal Hook, so I know it's probably possible, but it's not really something I'm looking to do. Backflip's probably the only thing I'm looking at here. Outmaneuver is a pretty niche card, I would say. Never take it Act 1. Only take it if you have Runic Pyramid, really, I'd say. So Backflip, still have an elite that we might target, and that it's either going to be Lugluven or Knob. We don't want to see it against Knob. It's okay against Lugluven. pretty okay against Slime Boss, and then great for the rest of the game, really. So, I don't know, do we take it? So, we've added 3 attacks. One of them exhausts itself. Got card draw-ish. I mean, between these two, it's like, do I really need some more card draw? I'm really just taking it for the defense at this point. I could just take the 2 health, I think. It's probably better. Oh man, come on, give me my data. Well, didn't get it, of course. So let's make use of our Avocados here. 14 on this guy. And let's see, so 12. Take the little guy out first then. Indicated that guy. Others. I guess I probably should have used the neutralize on that guy. Just a difference of 1 damage. It can be kind of relevant. I mean, in this case it wasn't, but sometimes it could be. Oh, these are all good cards. Glass Knife is a really good Act 1 pickup, but more so if you can upgrade it. Could be pretty good against the Slime Boss. But Noxious Fumes is a card that will be pretty good against Lagavulin. Kind of just okay against the Knob. Okay, it's much better if you can draw it turn 1. In that case, it's, you know, it's putting in like a pretty good amount of damage for 1 energy, considering the fight probably lasts till turn 4 on average. And it's okay, but not amazing against Slime Boss. Poison Stab is just probably not on the level of these two, but it is a pretty good card. I'm definitely not skipping here. Let's put it that way. Glass Knife is probably the safer bet. I mean, I do have an Akabeko, and it double dips on that. That might even further push me toward that. The only thing that sucks is this could get me going on my poison theme. I'm generally wanting to transition to poison come Act 2 and beyond, because that's just the most consistent way to win the game. Whereas Glass Knife kind of falls off at a certain point. And I've already got a pretty good Act 1 setup. I think we'll go Noxious Fumes. We'll see if that comes back to bite me in the ass. So it turned out pretty good here. We'll probably attack. So the thing is, I don't really want these to shuffle back into my deck, the shivs. So, oh, Predator. Let's do these shivs. Sometimes it's nice to play the Noxious Fumes and wait till the following turn, because it doesn't actually, you know, it doesn't apply the poison until the next turn. So in this fight, we might have the luxury to try to block more damage. And we'll see what happens. I may have to use this. I don't know if I want to save it for the Slime Boss or not. Yeah, I might need it for the Slime Boss because I don't have any big defensive cards, and I'm most likely going to have to at least survive one of his big hits. It's Quick Slash. And I don't think I'm going to use Steel Potion in this fight. I think I can kill him without it, so we'll just get in some damage here. Hopefully I don't end up having to use it like halfway through and I needlessly took that damage. Fuck, I'm gonna have to, aren't I? 18 plus 15 would be, what is it, 33 plus 5 is just like 2 short, or was it 30? Wait, was it 33? So 38. I'm 2 damage short. Well, this only really blocks me for 4. Well, I'm probably gonna need it next turn. Now, it might end up that I just die because I didn't use it earlier. We'll see. Can I even block? I can block this, so I'll just block it. Well, at least we don't die. But that's a lot of damage we took. Ah, disappointing. I really don't like this relic. It's like, what you want is, it's like you bust your ass and to kill these elites, and you want something that's gonna give you immediate value against your next encounter, right? This just doesn't. It's basically like a delayed value that really, I think it's a pretty weak relic, because by the time you get those extra relics, like you have to wait all the way to the chests to get them. And if I would have just had my relic that did something instead of this, that would allow me to, you know, take on more elites potentially, and generally just survive and snowball earlier. So, one of my most hated relics, honestly. So these two are pretty good. We don't need this, given that we already have that. Against this bastard, I'm kind of inclined to take a leg sweep, I feel. Because I'm probably going to have to, even though I got this regen potion, I'm probably going to have to rest anyway. And this one's just... Crippling Clouds is a really good card. It's just kind of underwhelming in the unupgraded form. And it's also not necessarily that insane in this fight, considering the slime just keeps clearing his poison. So this is pretty good. It's less affected by the frail. And it'll be pretty good against the big hit turn. And it doesn't really require an upgrade to be pretty valuable. So we'll rest here. I'd love to upgrade like the Noxious Fumes or even the Neutralizer Lake Sweep, but I don't think I can afford that in this fight. So Akabeko doesn't put on any multi-attack, so it just doesn't matter what we do here. So we do have one dilemma. Do we want to use Deadeye now or hold it? I think we hold it. We'll either use it once he's split, or we'll use it to try to get a good split. We'll definitely want this ticking. So we'll block hopefully as much as we can here. This is pretty good. We could also have split him here, but that's such a bad split. It's like right at the max amount of health you could have to split. And this is only 12 damage coming in, so we'll wait and try to get as close as we can to 75 before applying as much damage as we can. So we'll see what happens. So he's down to 80. We're probably not drawing more damage in the next turn than we would get here, so we're probably just going to do this. That's a pretty good split. Now we only have to do 20 damage to split them again, and then we got really lucky that none of them are attacking us here. So in terms of who I want to split first, I probably don't want to be frail, I think. I can still deal pretty good damage. Granted, it's not a great split for these guys, but... So let's see. We can put the weakness on the guy with more damage. Is it worth more to block here? I think so. We're not killing this guy anytime soon, I don't think, unless we drop Predator, he's dead anyway. Doesn't really matter if I strike, so let's go ahead and just block the damage here. We are going to be frail now, which sucks. But there's nothing we could have done against that. So we did get the Predator. Go ahead and just do that. Try to kill these guys before we worry about splitting that guy. Should be able to kill this guy without hitting us next turn, even though we're weak. So let's see, 4, we'll do that one then. And then I guess if we split him, 8 plus 5. So I'm frail, so I can only block 9 of his damage. If I split him now, what can I... Okay, so 11. It would be exactly a split. Let's go ahead and just do that. Oh, not even this, even more than the split. I guess I calculated that wrong, but that's fine. Now we're not frail anymore, and we never will be. So we'll hit this guy because he'll most likely, he's more likely to attack next turn versus this guy who's already attacked. There's kind of a certain percentage. Their attacks aren't like completely, like he's still attacked again, but I think he only had like a 25 or 50% chance to attack again. And then next turn, I think there's like a limit how many times they can attack in a row. Which kind of inclines me to kill this guy, I guess. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get him done and block. So really don't think he's going to attack again. Oh, never mind, he's going to attack for full damage and whatever, I'll just block it. Not really a big deal at this point. Nice. That went better than I thought it would. Ooh, oh man. So these two are like just top S tier cards, and it's just torturous to make me decide between these two. Bullet Times is less good than it sounds, but it's still okay, but definitely not on the level of these other two cards. I feel like man, oh, this is rough. So one thing to keep in mind is I haven't put any like piercing wells in my deck yet. I do have a leg sweep, but no footwork, no piercing well, no malace. Not really any huge defensive options. I think I have better offense at this point than defense, so that might lean me toward the Wraith form. Yeah. The problem with Wraith form is I'm not necessarily great on like Act 2 offense, and Corpse Explosion is like the best possible offense. None of them are real. You can't go wrong with either of these cards. I'll probably take Corpse Explosion, I'm thinking. It leans me more toward poison shenanigans, and it is just so good against so many of the Act 2 fights. So is Wraith Form, but yeah, we'll go with that. I feel like Wraith Form is generally the better card though. So I think we were offered that Tools of the Trade, but yeah, this Hovering Kite, you just don't take it. You don't have Tools of the Trade. And Sacred Bark is about as useless as Hovering Kite in my opinion. I just don't think that you play enough potions typically in a game to make this worthy of like a boss relic. And then Runic Pyramid is one of the best boss relics in the game, and especially, we didn't take a Willied plan, so it's like we don't even have to worry about removing the Willied plans. So it's definitely a Runic Pyramid here. It's not even close. Like this is like putting like Michael Jordan or Kobe versus I don't know, some people that you just don't know the name of in high school, junior varsity basketball. So Runic Pyramid it is. It's a great card. We also don't. Let's see. Yeah, so we're more inclined to take lower energy cost cards, just a little bit more now that we're in the pyramid. But let's see what we're working with here. We got 200 gold. We want to spend that if we can, but if we do that, we're gonna have to dodge these elites. I don't know if we really want to do that. So if we go to the left side, we can take on 3, but there's only 1 campfire if we do that. And a lot of hallway fights, and Act 2 hallway fights are pretty brutal. What else we got? We could do that, but then go right. That's not that great. We'd have a late shop. We go this way. Get this shop and a fire. Could get a green shard and not have to force our Act 3 path. And that's pretty good there, and if we can't take him on, we can just do that or that. I think I like that route the most. So this shop, so we'll start here.
So I generally want to kill the guy in the back first in this fight because he just, for whatever reason, he gets like 2 or 3 times as much block as him when he's ready to do his retreat. It's too bad we didn't get our die. Avocados die here would be pretty legit. There's also a case to go after the lower health guy though, given that we have Corpse Explode. Sometimes in this fight, Corpse Explode can be awkward to get in though, especially when it's unupgraded. Corpse Explode is actually a pretty good card to upgrade. I think we're going to be playing both these and just our shivs, sad as that is. So let's go ahead and just do that. I don't really want to take any damage. Thing with the Runic Pyramid as well is like, when you take it as your Act 1 reward, the first few fights in Act 2, first few hallway fights, can be pretty brutal. Probably want to. Well, oh yeah, I have Runic Pyramid, so I can hold this for when I need it really. So let me think here. I guess we can quick slash, see if we get another defense card. No such luck. Yes, we do this. I mean, next turn we can Corpse Explode Predator anyway. So we'll just do that. Oh, let's do that first. Oh wait, 2. Shit. Okay, I got saved there. For some reason I was thinking I could play both Predator and Corpse Explode that turn. Well, this is upgraded, so I'm kind of inclined to take it here. It's just a pretty solid card. You don't need card draw as much when you have Runic Pyramid, but it's still good. Like, there'll probably come a time where I need to dig through this deck, so this being upgraded, it's kind of hard to beat that. Concentrate also, not so bad of a card in Runic Pyramid. It's kind of like the ideal situation for it, really. But it's a card that, you know, turn 1 does nothing for you. It's really just like the later turns, if you are having trouble playing cards or emptying out your hands, this is kind of what you take. We haven't really witnessed that necessarily yet, so I'll take Backflip. It's just kind of an overall better card, I feel. Especially since it's upgraded. Okay. Well, I guess we're just shitting and defending and not just feeling. Poison is the way to kill this guy, really, unless you have. I don't know if I mean, we'll probably be doing a mix of everything, but let's backflip, see what we get. Maybe a red sweep here. I can hold them neutralized, though. I want to just empty out my hand. I'm already stacking weakness anyway. So I do want to get this off. I'm gonna have to take damage anyway over this fight, unfortunately, since I'm like frail and stuff. I can take 4 in favor of applying some better poison here. I mean, like I said, it's just Runic Pyramid's rough these first 2 fights. Let's get this out. So he's gonna. At least we're not frail anymore. Yeah, we can just. So that pretty much blocks everything. We'll get a strike out of our hand, I guess. We do need to really start removing strikes. So like, I'll have to really resist the next shot, like doing dumb things like not removing strikes because I see something sexy or something. This doesn't matter. Just play strikes into that hand. And this should finish him. By the way, still haven't gotten anything out of this, just to illustrate that. Another noxious fumes. I typically don't like to put 2 of these in my decks, though. I guess this, given that I don't really have great poison application at the moment, and I'm fighting the keeper, I don't think it would be too bad to take another one here. Definitely don't want like 3. 2 is like my hard limit. Okay, this is literally the worst hallway fight in the game. Like, oh, I hate it, and I always run into it. Okay. Decisions. Not really any good decisions here, honestly. Let's get this ticking. If I were to kill him this turn, well, I can't really. Let's just get him low. I don't want to be vulnerable this turn anyway. It's like basically taking the same amount of damage anyway. I do want to maybe kill him next turn though, so let's do this. I could even do this. I'm debating like if putting this on him does more damage over the long term, or if corpse exploding him does, or shall I say, over the turn, over the amount of time that this fight is going to last. Either way, though, let's get this guy weak and get another one of these guys. I'll take 2 damage in favor of doubling my poison application per turn. I don't really have the luxury for this fight to really go on much longer. We're just going to have to purely defend here. Not really much other choices to be made. We're probably going to have to use this to finish this guy off, if we can even do it. Because we're just fucking dying here. But yeah, we're getting pretty fucked. Let's see if we can kill him. So 20 plus, so 37 plus, so that's 57 plus 8. 57 plus 8 is 65. That's definitely not enough to kill him, so we got to block. Still frail. Do back into neutralize oddly enough. At least we can stack up some poison. And I guess we just with this some chip damage in, and we definitely got to kill him soon, or we're dead. So 6, yeah, I'm pretty much fucking dead. If I draw into a lake sweep, is that enough? Or can I kill him? So 20 plus 8, 28, 48 plus 11, 59, that's not enough. God, I really hate this fucking fight. So our only option really is to try to quick slash into leg sweep. So 1 out of 4 chance to not die here. Nope, we got it. Is that enough? Oh, that's not even enough. Oh, fuck us, right? Sucks. No, we have it. Sometimes you run into that enemy and they fucking kill you. Man, 3rd floor, usually it's like higher up. Had to run into shelled parasite pretty much twice in a row, so fuck me, you know. And not only twice in a row, but his horrible form. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. I don't know if I really want to go into another one right now. I can probably just let that one lay where it is. Honestly, I mean, you know, you lose more than you win, and I think I kind of want to set a precedent on this channel that I don't just only, you know, because every other person that does this videos of this game just kind of only does wins. So I think it's fine to show the losses and show that like the logic is still the same. Sometimes you just lose. So probably call it good there. I hope you learned something from that game. We could do a quick review of that run. So a few choices that we had. those are tools of the trade that we skipped. I think that was the right call. If we weren't offered Runic Pyramid, we had some pretty trash. Like if it was like maybe like a Black Star instead of Runic Pyramid, we would have been sad. Because then Hovering Kite, if we had tools of the trade, would have been good. But it still wasn't enough to have us win. This kind of explained why I hate this relic. As you can see, it literally was just not getting a relic in the context of this run, because we never got to even trigger its effect. The Ninja Scrolls, I feel, were okay, but they weren't great. It's like I couldn't even really, sometimes you can wait on like your Akabeko to get something like a die, a huge die like the next turn, but yeah, Runic Pyramid, or even without it, it's like I don't want to cycle shows back into my hand, so I'm kind of forced into playing on turn one. I really just don't like this relic. Seeing Bowl is pretty good, but it really, in the context of this run, it only really did us like a strawberry worth of health, I think. And Akabeko, it's a really good Act 1. That's probably our best relic that we got of the normal relics. But it didn't necessarily do much for us because we didn't have any The only thing that really kind of double dipped in was die, and I don't think we ever even really played it with it. As far as Corpse Explosion versus Wraith Form, in the context of this run, Wraith Form would have definitely been better. We would have definitely made it farther. We probably would not have died. We would not have taken as much damage versus the first Shelled Parasite. And B, we probably, would have survived that other fight. Tough thing is you choose the card before you get your Lost Relic, right? So if I knew I was going to get Runic Pyramid, Wraith Form is just amazing in Runic Pyramid. It's amazing everywhere, but it's especially amazing in Runic Pyramid. So in hindsight, Wraith Form would have been better, but I don't know if it was necessarily the better choice given our situation. The Die purchase, I think, was pretty legit. That card kind of carried us through Act 1, and nothing else was really good in that shot. Lake Sweep versus Crippling Cloud, I think, was better. I don't know if we would have had such a good time against the Slime Boss if we hadn't done that. And against, like, the Shelled Parasites that we faced, I think Lake Sweep was, like, the only thing really keeping us in the fight, and I don't think Crippling Cloud would have been better, so I think that was the right call. These two, we didn't really get to see if it mattered much. We died, and whether we had one or two doesn't really matter there. Predator is solid as always, but if you think about it, like I'd mentioned like Dash is like a better card. Like I would have rather had Dash for sure. That could have definitely also saved us, but you're not always going to get offered something like a Dash. And then not much to say on the others. So yeah, it's a loss. We'll move on and we get back on the horse. Until next time.